Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Nashtakaya Samhadvishru Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, Further Inquiries by Vidura, text number 12. Save nivritti dharmena vasudeva anukampaya bhagavat bhakti yogena tirodhate shanariha. But that misconception of self-identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, through the process of devotional service to the Lord in the mode of detachment. The misconception of self-identity. Yesterday we saw the example about that moon in the reflection of the moon in the water, with the quivering of the water, with the slight movement of water. It appears that the moon, the reflection of the moon, is moving, but the original moon does not move at all. The quivering quality of material existence, which comes from identification with matter, or from thinking oneself under the material influence of philosophical speculation to be God, can be eradicated by devotional service to the Lord, by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudeva. As discussed in the first canto, because the application of devotional service to Lord Vasudeva invites pure knowledge, it quickly detaches one from the material conception of life, and thus revives one's normal condition of spiritual existence, even in this life, and frees one from the material winds which causes one to quiver. So bhakti, the devotional service, first it gives pure knowledge. Now, Prabhupada is saying, as discussed in the first canto. So there is a place where it is said, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janyatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayata Hatukam. By performing bhakti, Janyati Ashu, very soon what develops is Vairagyam and Jnana. Vairagya and Jnana, they develop in the heart of a person who is performing devotion service unto the Lord. And pure knowledge happens. Pure knowledge is what develops. And because of that knowledge, he becomes detached from the material concept of life, and then frees one from the material winds. Frees one means because of detachment and because of knowledge, there is no disturbance. Only knowledge and devotional service can elevate one towards the path of liberation. The development of knowledge for the purpose of knowing everything without rendering devotional service is considered fruitless labor, and one cannot get the desired result by such labor of love. Lord Vasudeva is pleased by devotional service only, and thus his mercy is realized by association with pure devotees of the Lord. Pure devotees of the Lord are transcendental to all material desires, including the desire for the results of fruitive activities and material and philosophical speculation. If one wants to acquire the mercy of the Lord, he has to associate with pure devotees. Such association alone can be, by degrees, release one from the quivering elements. So by association with pure devotees, one develops this desire for devotional service, and because of that desire, one can easily get jnana and vairagya, and then this quivering, any disturbance in the material world or any desires of the material world, they don't disturb the person. Text 13. Yadendriyayo paramo drishtratmani pareharo liyante tada klesha sansuptasyeva kritsnashaha. When the senses are satisfied in the seer soul, the personality of Godhead, and merge in him, all miseries are completely vanquished, as after a sound sleep. The quivering of the living entity, as described above, is due to the senses. Since the entire material existence is meant for sense gratification, the senses are the medium of material activities, and they cause the quivering of the steady soul. Therefore, these senses are to be detached from all such material activities. According to the impersonalists, the senses are stopped from work by merging the soul in the supersoul Brahman. The devotees, however, do not stop the material senses from acting. So the quivering or the disturbance is because of acting of the senses. The senses are always going to act, no matter what. So the yogis or the nirvikarvadis, what they try to do is try to stop the activities of senses. Like yogis, they go in a cave and sit down and do tapasya for thousands of years. That we withdraw the senses from the sense objects, and that's it. We don't have any problems. But the inclination to enjoy the senses still remains. The tendency of the senses to engage in those enjoying the sense objects always remains. That doesn't go away. But in case of devotees, the process is different. We don't stop the senses from acting. We just stop the senses from acting independently of Krishna. So senses have to work. Senses have to interact with the sense objects, but do that interaction in Krishna consciousness. That's all. The devotees, however, do not stop the material senses from acting, but they engage their transcendental senses in the service of the transcendence, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In either case, the activities of the senses in the material field are to be stopped by cultivation of knowledge, and if possible, they can be engaged in the service of the Lord. The senses are transcendental in nature, but their activities become polluted when contaminated by matter. We have to treat the senses to cure them of the material disease, not stop them from acting as suggested by the impersonalist. So this is the bhakti yoga, where we use the senses in service of the Lord. So slowly, what happens is the detachment, the real detachment happens because we have given a higher taste to the senses. It all depends upon how much effort we put in. Because of the previous sanskars, the senses will always run towards the lower taste. The sanskar is there for so many millions of lifetimes. Even for yogis, the senses will try to go towards a lower taste. So they try to control it. They try to negate the activities of the senses. But in devotional service, we try to give the senses a higher taste. Okay, instead of going towards lower taste, let's go towards higher taste. It takes time. I'm not saying it doesn't take time. Overnight, it's not possible. Like Prabhupada always talks about in his books about sense gratification. Yes, Senses are supposed to be gratified. Senses are going to run towards that. Prabhupada had achieved, or he already had, the highest taste of everything when he engaged his senses in service of Krishna. For him, it was so natural. But for people like us, it's very, very difficult. Like eyes want to see something beautiful, and something beautiful, we want some variety, always. For that purpose, the variety is there in the deities of the Lord, in Dham of the Lord. But we don't have that kind of taste that looking at the deity of the Lord, we can be satisfied. But this is the taste we have to give to the senses. Because the intelligence, Bhagavad Gita says, mind is above the senses, but intelligence is above the mind, and soul is above the intelligence. So by intelligence, we have to control the mind and control the senses. How is intelligence going to become strong or sharp? Intelligence becomes sharp by, Bhagavad Gita says, asanga shastrena, means by detachment. But the real sharpness is when we engage it in service of Krishna, when we use it in service of Krishna, and when we associate with these devotees of Krishna, when we study Krishna conscious literature, when we practice sadhana bhakti. Slowly, 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 the intelligence becomes sharp. It's a slow process. It's not overnight process. It's a slow process. But it depends upon us, how determined we are, how sincere we are, how much we want to progress. It's all up to us. Of course, because we like to tell the Guru or Krishna or Prabhupada or some senior devotee that why I'm not making progress. Oh, I don't have your mercy. That's why. Means I'm all right. Everything I'm doing is all right. It's something is lacking on your part. That's why I'm not making progress. But I don't have your mercy. Mercy of Prabhupada is he has given us this process. He's not going to come and sit in our heart and create the determination that we have to do. Just like we are in this month of Kartik, or Damodar month, and when Yashoda Maya was trying to bind Krishna with that mortar, and she had the rope, all the ropes from the house, and the rope, whatever was used to tie up the cattle, she was using that rope to tie up Krishna's belly. And Krishna was very little that time. He wasn't even 7 years old. He was less than that, maybe 3 or 4 years old. And no matter how hard Yashoda Maya tried, the rope was 2 fingers too short. She got exasperated. What is this happening? Then the gopis were around and they were watching this and they're saying, Yashoda Maya, Krishna doesn't want to get tied up. Don't leave it alone. No, I'm going to tie him up. You all bring your ropes from all your houses. So everybody brought ropes from their homes. It's the order of Yashoda Maya. They had to oblige. So the ropes came. Yashoda Maya tied up all the ropes together. And again, it became a very long rope. But then she tried to tie up Krishna and the mortar together. And the rope was 2 fingers too short. So Acharyas have explained the reason for these 2 fingers. The length of the rope being short by 2 fingers was to achieve anything in in devotion service. Of course, Yashodama was trying to tie up Krishna. We are not here to tie up Krishna, or we are here to tie up Krishna in our heart. That's a different story. But any result in Krishna consciousness or devotion service depends upon two factors. One finger represents the effort that we put in. Yashoda Maya must put in all our effort. But the second finger represents the mercy of Krishna. So the mercy of Krishna comes when we put in our effort. Mercy of Srila Prabhupada comes when he sees we are putting in our sincere efforts. So if we are sincere in our efforts, the mercy will come. That's what actually kripa means. The word kripa. Kripa means kar and pa. Do and get it. So the success is guaranteed in devotion service because the success depends upon our effort and more depends upon the mercy. Mercy of Guru, mercy of Guru Parampara, mercy of Mahaprabhu, mercy of Krishna. It depends on the mercy. So our efforts could be little, but the mercy factor could be much more. But even to get that mercy factor, we have to put in our efforts. We have to treat the senses to cure them of the material disease, not stop them from acting, as suggested by the impersonalist. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that one ceases all material activities only when satisfied by contact with the better engagement. Consciousness is active by nature and cannot be stopped from working. Artificially stopping a mischievous child is not the real remedy. The child must be given some better engagement so that he will automatically stop causing mischief. In the same way, the mischievous activities of the senses can be stopped only by better engagement in relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the eyes are engaged in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, the tongue engaged in tasting prasad or remnants of foodstuff offered to the Lord. So this is how we can engage all our senses. The ears are engaged in hearing His glories, the hands engaged in cleaning the temple of the Lord, the legs engaged in visiting His temple, or when all of the senses are engaged in transcendental variegatedness, then only can the transcendental senses become satiated and eternally free from material engagement. The Lord is a super soul residing in everyone's heart, and as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world, far beyond the material creation, is the seer of all our activities. Our activities must be so transcendently saturated that the Lord will be kind enough to look upon us favorably and engage us in His transcendental service. Then only can the senses be satisfied completely and be no longer troubled by material attraction. So this is the only process by which we have guaranteed result. The Prabhupada also says the Lord is in the transcendental world far beyond the material creation, is a seer of all our activities. Our activities must be so transcendently saturated that the Lord will be kind enough to look upon us favorably and engage us in His transcendental service. That's the mercy of the Lord. But for that, our activities must be so transcendently saturated. So saturation point is what? When there is nothing else, like when we have a saturated soil. Sometimes in a civil engineering geology, we use this word, saturated soil. Saturated soil is what? It's completely filled with water. There's nothing left, no air pocket left at all. It's only dirt and water. That's it. completely saturated. So that is the state we have to achieve. Text 14. Ashesha Sangosha Shamam Vidatte Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare Kimva Punastas Charana Ravindam Paraga Seva Ratiratma Labdha. Simply by chanting and hearing of the transcendental name, form, etc., of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one can achieve the cessation of unlimited miserable conditions. Therefore, what to speak of those who have attained attraction for serving the flavor of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet? Two different methods for controlling the material senses are recommended in the Vedic scriptural wisdom. One of them is the process of jnana, or the path of philosophical understanding of the Supreme, Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The order is that of direct engagement in the transcendental loving devotional service of the Lord. Of these two most popular methods, the path of devotional service is recommended here as the best because one on the path of devotional service does not have to wait for the attainment of the fruitive results of pious activities or for the results of knowledge. The two stages of executing devotion service are first, the stage of practicing devotion service, which is Vedi sadhana bhakti, with the present senses under the regulations of the recognized scriptures. And second, attaining sincere attachment, that is Vedi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Sincere attachment for serving the particles of the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. The first stage is called sadhana bhakti, or devotion service, which is rendered on the direction of a pure devotee. And the second stage is called raga bhakti, in which the mature devotee automatically takes to the various services of the Lord out of sincere attachment. So automatically doesn't mean that before that there is nothing. To come to that stage, it's more than automatically, it's called spontaneous stage. Means he naturally wants to do things, naturally loves to render devotional service. The great sage Maitreya now gives the final answer to all the questions of Vidura. Devotion service to the Lord is the ultimate means to mitigate all the miserable conditions of material existence. The path of knowledge or that of mystic gymnastics may be adopted as a means for the purpose, but unless mixed with bhakti or devotion service, they are unable to afford the desired result. By practicing sadhana bhakti, one may gradually rise to the point of raga bhakti, and by performing raga bhakti in loving devotional service, one can even control the supreme powerful Lord. Of course, raga bhakti here is for us, which is rag anuga bhakti, raga anuga bhakti. We are anuga, we are followers of raga bhakti of performed by the eternal associates of the Lord, like Yashodamaya or Srimati Radharani. By performing Raga Bhakti in loving transcendental service, one can even control the supreme, powerful Lord. At one stage in material world, we are completely under the control of the senses. And in the stage of perfection, one can control the supreme, powerful Lord. That's how powerful a devotee becomes. Yashodamaya tied up Krishna. Not just she tied him up. She threatened to beat him before that with the stick. And Krishna was crying and rubbing his eyes again and again, and he was completely fearful. He wasn't acting like he was afraid. There's a difference. In the scriptures, it doesn't say he was acting. He was afraid, really afraid. This is how controlling Yashoda Maya was. Of course, that control was out of love. But this is love of a devotee. And that, like we studied on Radhashmi, Srimati Radharani has 25 divine qualities. And the 25th quality is that she completely controls Krishna out of love. So yogis are trying to control the senses. Devotees are trying to control the senses. The process for devotees is to engage the senses in service of Krishna. But they can come to the stage, forget about controlling the senses, they control Krishna himself. Krishna was Rishikesha. Rishikesha is the lord of the senses. He gets controlled by the devotees. So what to speak of senses of the devotees to be in control? Gopis, they are at such a level that they say when Uddhavji went to talk to gopis and he brought the message of Krishna, Uddhavji said, you should meditate on Brahm. Gopi said, meditate. To meditate, we have to have a mind and senses. Our mind and senses is under Krishna's, is always thinking of Krishna. He cannot think of anything else. To bring a mind and senses out of Krishna's thought, it's impossible. In fact, we want to forget Krishna. We cannot. And you're telling us to meditate on Brahman? How is it possible? Gopi said, we want to forget Krishna because we cannot do anything at all, because always we are thinking of Krishna. We cannot even do our household chores. Look at the stage of gopis. For us, we have to somehow sit down and bring our mind and senses to the stage of chanting the holy names of Krishna. Somehow, yeah. And we are not even chanting. Somehow we are finishing the rounds. We are completing the rounds. See our fallen condition. And the gopis, on the other hand, they want to forget Krishna because they want to serve. They want to take care of their responsibilities. They want to forget Krishna. And we have struggle of thinking of Krishna while taking care of our responsibilities. So anyway, we keep on trying, we keep on putting our sincere efforts, and slowly we'll get more and more mercy of Prabhupada and Krishna, so we can make further advancement. So we'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one question on, Nanda Baba. When Yashoda, there was an incident where Krishna put, some soil in his mouth, and while Yashoda was trying to see what is there in his mouth, she actually saw the entire universe inside the mouth, and and Nanda Baba came to that. Over there, he was trying to make Yashoda understand that he is not a normal person. Krishna is not any normal kid. He is himself Lord. So the question is, Prabhuji, Yashoda, because of the loving nature, she is unable to understand that he is himself Lord, or she was knowing but just trying to pretend, like that he is not Lord or something.
There is no pretense. Even Nanda Baba, even he might understand sometimes, but then Krishna's Yogmaya covers his intelligence because Krishna doesn't want this feeling of him being God come even in the heart of Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya, because uh, that will interfere with their relationship, with um, their mellow, their mood. The mood will be lost. And Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya are in completely pure Vatsalya mood, no tinge of material or no tinge of any awe and reverence. Complete loving Vatsalya mood. Vasudeva and Devaki, they have some awe and reverence in their mood because they are from Mathura, but in Vrindavan there is no such tinge. So even if some momentarily that awe and reverence comes of Krishna is God, it completely goes away next second, next moment. Because then that relationship will not be there. What they both want, what Krishna wants, what Yashoda Maya wants, what Nanda Baba wants, that relationship will not be
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very good
there. You're welcome.
explanation, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Regarding this,
Krishna.
thank you so much for this class. Thank you very, very much for this class. Regarding the same thing that since Devaki and Vasudev were actually aware of that Krishna is the supreme personality of God, is it because of that they got the separation from them? Because they would have not performed the that Vatsalya Ras in that way because they were already because we read that they were not actually means Devaki didn't give birth to Krishna, but he appeared to her. So they were already aware of this that he is a Lord, and they had that awareness. That's why Krishna went to Yashoda because she was already in the mode of the Vatsalya Ras. It just long back.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Krishna was born from both Devaki and Yashoda at the same time. And from Yashoda, that girl was also born.
Yes, yes.
But it's from Devaki, he had to go to Yashoda's place because the pastime has to go on of Devaki being under Kansa's imprisonment, and him being in Vrindavan, and he wanted to have he spent 10 years, 8 months in Vrindavan, and then he came out, and then he never went back. So then Yashoda Maya and Nand Baba, they suffered for so many years. Krishna stayed for 125 years. He performed his pastimes, but only 10 years and 8 months in Vrindavan. So we cannot say anybody is lower or higher. It
Yeah,
just,
Prabhuji.
he had to perform his pastimes, and
Yeah,
afterwards
means
he had to
my
come out and
yeah means my understanding was that because he has to perform that all the uh, pastimes with the gopis and the Vatsalya Ras and all he has to show. So Devaki Ma was already aware of it, right? That he's a god. So there might be, like you said, na, that even the Yogmaya would have covered Yashoda Ma, but would have not covered Devaki Ma. It's just means my speculation.
no. It's just different roles everybody has
Yeah,
according to their mood. According
yeah,
to their
yeah.
mood of Vatsalya. That's all. Yogmaya can cover Yashoda Maya and Yogmaya can cover Devaki also. That's not a big deal.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Varuji. Thank
Okay?
you for this
Okay.
clarification. Yes. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna Prabhu,
Jai
Jai
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.